My sugar mama girlfriend gives me $20,000 a month in spending money. Having thoroughly studied the Sugar Baby's handbook and the rules for dating a rich woman, I never dared to touch her phone, let alone ask where she was going. Once, I accidentally spotted her at the mall, laughing and chatting with another guy while they shopped. So I immediately turned on my heel and bolted, terrified of ruining their good time. We spent 6 sweet months like that. One night, we were screen mirroring a movie from her phone when an iMessage notification suddenly popped up on the TV. The sender was an unknown man, and the message was just a few short words. "Babe, I'm in the hospital." The air in the room instantly froze. I stared at the message on the screen, stunned for a few seconds, before carefully breaking the silence, rubbing my hands together as I suggested, "Hey, how about I go look after your friend for you?" I promised to provide top-notch service. That night, I was riding my bike, feeling completely dead inside on my way to tutor a particularly bratty kid, when a voice stopped me in my tracks. "Hey, you on the bike?" I turned around, confused. "Me? Yeah, you. Get over here." I walked over, completely baffled. A tall, gorgeous woman stood there with her arms crossed, her legs so long they could wrap around the globe twice. She casually tossed a credit card at me. "Be my boyfriend. $20,000 a month. You in?" Those words hit my ears, and my brain's CPU immediately fried. All I could process was a loop of static. Free 20,000. More static. "I'm in. Babe." My reflexes were lightning fast. I snatched that card out of the air faster than a Black Friday shopper grabbing the last TV. "Good boy." The beauty smoothly linked her arm with mine and sneered at a man standing a short distance away. "See this? I'd rather give this 20 grand to some stray I just picked up off the street than to a piece of trash like you. Did my new sponsor just call me a dog?" I didn't even flinch. For 20,000 a month, I'd be the most loyal puppy in the world. That 20 grand is my kibble. "Please, who are you trying to fool with an empty card?" It was only then that I noticed the guy across from us had that classic, overdone plastic surgery look. My heart sank. He was right. What if the card was empty? I'd be totally screwed. That would be a colossal waste of my time. As I was panicking, the woman lifted her chin. "What are you standing there for? Open your Venmo." I whipped out my ancient phone in a flash, making sure to shoot a look at Mr. Botox that said, "Thanks for looking out for me, bro. You're a real one." Ping. User Chloe has sent you a payment of $20,000. Memo, voluntary gift. The woman waved her phone, and her ex's face instantly turned a shade of sickly green. "Get it straight. I dumped you." She spun around with a flourish, took a few steps, and then paused. "Well, puppy, are you coming?" That jolted me back to reality, and I hurried to catch up. "Woof woof. Coming, babe. I mean, master." Her heels clicked all the way to the campus gate, where she abruptly stopped beside a black Porsche Cayenne. "Where are you headed?" "I'll give you a ride." The address for my tutoring gig was on the tip of my tongue, but I swallowed the words. Who needs a tutoring job when you're carrying 20 grand? Back to my dorm. "All right, I won't give you a ride then. You can get back on your own. That card has 40,000 on it. Combined with the 20 I just sent you, that covers you for 3 months. Any questions?" I clutched the debit card and nodded my head furiously. "No questions at all, babe. Here's my contact info. Add me." She pulled up her contact card on her phone. As I added her, I thoughtfully typed "your exclusive boyfriend" into the contact request message. "Okay, I'll text you if I need anything. I'm leaving." I stood there like a statue, watching her taillights disappear into the flow of traffic. I suddenly pinched my thigh. Was this really happening to me? The guy who's so unlucky he can't even win a free soda from a bottle cap? Trembling, I opened my bank app. $20,009.02. The night wind, thick with the smell of exhaust, filled my lungs as I took a deep breath. It felt like I had finally accumulated enough bad luck points to cash them in for a ticket to paradise. Life is so damn good. The first thing I did when I got back to my dorm was call and quit that tutoring job. Then I opened my browser and furiously typed, "New scams involving paying for a boyfriend." The search results were filled with romance scams and pig butchering schemes, but nothing that matched this scenario. Staring at my $20,009.02 balance and the brand new debit card, something suddenly occurred to me. Crap, what about the PIN for the card? I opened our iMessage chat. Her profile was private. What was even more suffocating was the realization that I didn't even know her name. I had to bite the bullet and text her, "Hey babe." After 40 agonizing minutes, she finally replied, "What?" I immediately lost my nerve and typed, "You didn't give me the PIN." The wait was torture. Another half hour crawled by before a string of numbers hit my screen. 021207. It was immediately followed by a command. "It's my birthday. Memorize it. There will be pop quizzes." I almost typed back, I'm going to get it tattooed on my face right now, but my sanity kicked in and I deleted it. I replaced it with a simple "got it" accompanied by a cute cat sticker. No response. I grabbed the card and immediately ran to the ATM on campus. I inserted the card, entered the PIN, and checked the balance, $40,000. The glowing screen reflected my idiotic grin stretching from ear to ear. Completely satisfied, I went back to my dorm and took the most luxurious shower of my life. It felt like even the soap bubbles smelled like money. That night, I dreamed. I was at a lavish mansion pool party, and just as the richest man in the world was about to tell me a huge secret about a celebrity, ring, a call from my sponsor. The shrill ringtone yanked me back to reality. It was 3:50 a.m. I answered, still half asleep and grumpy. Hello? Sleeping well. The voice on the other end chuckled. What do you think? Wait. A bolt of lightning shot through my brain. My sponsor. My voice instantly switched to a sickeningly sweet tone. Babe, I was just sleep talking because I was dreaming about you. There was a 2-second pause. Then her voice, laced with alcohol and authority, came through the phone. Did you forget to say goodnight? As someone who'd been single for 20 years, I froze. My bad. My eyelids just gave up on me. Do you even know what the job of a boyfriend entails? Whatever romantic gestures other guys do, I expect double from you. Whether I renew your contract depends on your performance. Renew the contract. My soul was instantly re-energized. Got it, babe. But, I paused, feeling the need to set a boundary up front. Just so we're clear, my services are for show. My body is off limits. She scoffed. Other guys have 8 packs. You think I'm interested in your keg? Tomorrow, 7 a.m., in front of the North Campus dorms. Be there with breakfast. Yes, ma'am. I'm going back to sleep now, babe. Good night, babe. Okay, go. After hanging up, I kissed the balance displayed in my banking app on the screen. I woke up laughing from my dreams twice that night. The next day, I was up and getting ready before dawn. I bought a carefully selected breakfast. I stood waiting in front of the women's dorm. Watching the girls come downstairs one by one, I ran into a new problem. I was so focused on the money last night. I couldn't remember what my sponsor's face looked like at all. All I remembered was a flash of pale skin under a short black skirt. And, right, a sparkling diamond stud in her left ear. Time for emergency tactics. I craned my neck like a TSA agent scanning luggage, trying to get a clear look at every girl's left ear. 5 minutes later, I locked onto a target. She had a swaying black skirt and a piercing in about the right spot on her ear. I slid in front of her like a shortstop fielding a grounder and flashed my best 5-star customer service smile. Good morning, babe. The girl in the black skirt froze, and her friends behind her erupted in shrieks. Sophia, you go? You've been secretly dating someone. Isn't that the aloof freshman from our department? Sophia? The senior from my department with the number 1 GPA? I was so dead. Excuse me, I think my boyfriend is still half asleep. He's got the wrong person. A familiar voice came from behind me. Slender fingers rested lazily on my shoulder as she looked up, her dark eyes glinting with amusement. Your babe is over here, boyfriend. Well, it's over. I'm about to be fired. After we'd walked a little way, she raised an eyebrow. Do we have the same face? The morning light outlined the sharp, perfect angle of her nose. This woman was a midnight rose, thorns and all, while the senior was a harmless morning jasmine. They were 2 completely different species. How could I possibly mix them up? I needed to get my eyes checked. Babe, you are absolutely one of a kind, I said, shaking my head earnestly. Then how could you mistake me for someone else? I stood here watching you for a full 30 minutes, only for you to call someone else babe? My own boyfriend, holding breakfast and fawning over another girl. Did I not pay you enough? Do I need to upgrade you to the premium facial recognition plan? I immediately pulled out my phone and snapped a picture of her. I'm setting this as my lock screen right now, on a 365-day loop. Oh, she leaned in suddenly. Aren't you supposed to be the cool, aloof guy in your department? Your whole persona has crumbled into a bad case of terminal cringe. Whatever you want, I can be, I said with a servile grin. Your attitude is acceptable, she said, turning and striding towards the lecture hall. I need a living notepad for my morning class. Wait for me, boss. I scurried to keep up. For 20 grand a month, I wouldn't just go to class with her. I'd probably even take her final exams for her. She was a computer science major, a year ahead of me. She dragged me through the back door of the classroom. Then she opened the breakfast bag and started picking through it. Get rid of the burrito, keep the soup dumplings, and buy double next time. I quickly pulled out a notebook, uncapped a pen with my teeth, and started scribbling furiously. Soup dumplings, affection plus 100%, breakfast burritos, triggers look of disgust. Yes, please continue. Taking such serious notes? She suddenly leaned over to look at my notebook. Her eyes landed on the title, the sponsor care and feeding guide, and she burst out laughing, choking on her own spit. Are you trying to make me laugh to death so you can inherit my credit card debt? She then proceeded to choke for real, laughing and coughing uncontrollably for a good while before she caught her breath. I silently added a footnote at the bottom of the page. Note, feed with caution. May induce laughter-related choking. Wiping tears from her eyes, she straightened up and pointed a finger at my little note. Penalty warning. Don't you dare jinx your sponsor. The professor walked in and his first question was, "Is Chloe here today?" "Here." The woman in the black skirt beside me drawled, lazily raising her hand. My pen froze. So my sponsor's name was Chloe. Well, what a rare sight. A living, breathing Chloe. The professor glanced at her. Then he opened his notes and started the lecture. Chloe propped her chin on her hand and listened for about 3 minutes before decisively laying her head on the desk to catch up on sleep. As a professional stand-in boyfriend, I took out my notebook and went into full human recorder mode. I didn't care if it was Newton or Lagrange. I was going to fill 10 pages of notes. When the bell shrieked, signaling the end of class, Chloe groggily asked me, "Boyfriend, what's your name?" "It's Ethan, babe." "Okay," she said, ruffling my hair. "Wait here, I'm going to the bathroom." The moment she left, a guy with a clenched fist walked up and slammed his hand on my desk. "Hey." I looked up. It was the plastic surgery aficionado from yesterday. "Are you really with her now? You'd throw away your dignity for 20 grand. What do you think?" I frowned. "You think I should throw away money for the sake of dignity?" His face flushed a deep red. "She's wild behind the scenes, smokes, drinks, you name it." Before he could finish, my fist connected squarely with his nose. "Listen, buddy, slandering the boss gets you a pay cut, you get it?" Of course, my inner monologue was completely different. "Don't even think about stealing my job. Messing with my income is a cardinal sin, and I'll make you regret it." The guy panicked, clutching his nose and yelling, "What is wrong with you?" When Chloe sauntered back, I instantly put on a pitiful expression and tugged at her sleeve. That upperclassman called me pathetic, but I don't blame him. She wrapped an arm around my shoulders and glared at him. "Jealous?" "Too late." Chloe patted my head, her voice softening. There, babe. I'll take you shopping later to make you feel better." I shot my head up, about to ask if I could just get the cash instead, but she calmly pushed my head back down. "You two are disgusting." The guy retreated, cursing and clutching his bleeding nose. The moment he was gone, Chloe let go of me and sneered. "You overdid it. Fending off unwanted admirers for the boss is part of my job description." I grinned, pointing at his retreating back. "So what's his story?" "He got poached by some other sugar mama." Chloe rolled her eyes. "He pursued me for 3 months, dropping hints about wanting some limited edition sneakers for his birthday. I thought that was too cheap, so I ordered him a BMW as a surprise. Then, on his birthday, he completely ghosted me. Later, he showed up with his arm around some woman old enough to be his mother and told me, 'Someone else can give me what you can't.' I sucked in a breath. What could he possibly want from her? Her penchant. She bought him a condo. Chloe suddenly laughed. "So, Ethan, just be a good little stand-in. Keep me happy, and I'll renew your contract." I made a solemn vow. "Babe, a first love might let you down, but $60,000 never will." Tuesdays were always a survival challenge. After attending class with Chloe on the other side of campus, I was practically convulsing from hunger by the time I sprinted back to the main quad. When my stomach played its third symphony of hunger in the middle of class, I had to laugh at myself for being so dramatic. I grew up in an orphanage, for crying out loud, surviving on student loans and 5 part-time jobs. Money was the compass etched into my very bones. For 4 years of college, all my time was calculated in hourly wages. My aloof freshman reputation was just a byproduct of being a broke workaholic. I was always either at a job or on my way to one, so I never had time to even think about things like dating. "Is this seat taken?" A pleasant voice tickled my ear like a feather. Sophia sat down, bringing with her a scent of gardenia, a stark contrast to Chloe's smoky rose perfume. "About the other day," she began. I strategically shifted a few inches away. "I'm really sorry about the mix-up." "It's not about that." She opened her textbook. "I was free today, so I thought I'd sit in on your class to review the material. But I have to ask, how do you mistake your own girlfriend? Did you two meet online or something? Had you never met in person before?" "I have intermittent facial blindness." I lied without thinking. I couldn't exactly tell her that Chloe was paying me. "Facial blindness?" She let out a soft laugh. "So, can you see me clearly now?" Before I could respond, she suddenly leaned in closer. "Ethan, if you can't remember her face, maybe you can remember mine." "What? That's a weird joke. Haha, I'm just kidding." Sophia offered a small smile. I breathed a sigh of relief. What kind of professional can't handle a little test like that? I was a professional. I'd heard of Sophia before. She was always the one giving student representative speeches or competing for our department in major competitions. I just never had a reason to interact with her. After that, Sophia didn't talk to me again and focused on the lecture. It wasn't until class ended that a sharp, acidic voice came from behind me. Mistaking your girlfriend for someone else again? You've got it wrong. I was just auditing the class, Sophia explained on my behalf. Class is over. Chloe's lips curved into a smile, but her eyes were cold. Boyfriend, it's time for lunch. Coming, babe. I shot up from my seat. Chloe dragged me out into the hallway. I'm adding a new clause to your contract. No cheating. That includes academic cheating. On the tree-lined path back to the dorm, Chloe was silent. I tried to break the silence with a barrage of pointless questions. So, babe, you brought me lunch yourself? Yep. Did you eat? Yep. Was it good? Yep. The conversation died in a swamp of one-word answers. Even a clueless guy like me could smell the jealousy in the air. My $20,000 a month salary was in danger. I had no idea how to appease her. I pulled out my phone and Googled, what to do when your girlfriend is jealous. The top result read, assert your relationship status and create a special memory. As I was brainstorming a memory creation plan, Chloe suddenly stopped walking and sneered. What's so interesting on your phone? What are you looking at? Nothing. I quickly put my phone away. Chloe's expression darkened. I barely know Sophia. I had no idea she was going to be there today, and you're the only one for me. I recited the textbook answer. I thought to myself, after all, there's only one sucker, angel, willing to pay me 60 grand. Chloe's expression softened a little. So what were you looking at on your phone? You hid it from me. I showed her my phone, and as she read the search results, a slight tremor ran through her body. So you knew I was jealous? Yes. I'm sorry, babe. I didn't mean to make you upset. You're my boyfriend, but you called her babe, and now you're sitting with her in class. I'm not happy about it. I pay you $20,000 a month. Do you think I'm paying to get cheated on again? I'm sorry, babe. I was wrong. And whatever you say, babe. Open your camera. Then Chloe flagged down a random student. Excuse me, could you take a picture for us? She walked over to me, placing a slender, pale hand on my shoulder. Look at the camera. As I looked at the photo, I had a rare stroke of genius. Babe, how about I post this on Facebook and make us official? Finally, you get it. But don't post it yet. Chloe suddenly tossed the lunch bag at me. First, feed the protesting army in your stomach. Just then, my stomach let out its umpteenth roar of rebellion. She kicked a stray pebble and chuckled. One more peep out of it, and I'm docking your food allowance. Back in the dorm, I put down my lunch and immediately posted on Facebook. I captioned the photo, my girlfriend. 3 seconds later, the comments started rolling in. I thought we were all staying single together. You secretly went and snagged the computer science department's human ATM. What happened to focusing on making money? With a chicken wing in my mouth, I typed back, I am making money. Don't at me. And I wasn't wrong, was I? Chloe didn't post anything herself, but I couldn't care less. Capitalists are notoriously stingy with emotional validation. After that incident, I did some serious soul searching. It was clear I was severely lacking in the relationship experience department. It was negatively impacting my sponsor's customer experience. I needed to binge some romantic comedies. Everyone says they're a crash course in love. The opening credits of the movie had just started when my roommates, Mark and Jason, kicked the door open. A Facebook post is how you go official? Where's the ceremony? Give us the details. Who asked who out? Have you held hands? Have you kissed? I was taken aback for a second, but they were my roommates, after all. I didn't hide anything and gave them the short version of the $20,000 deal. Their eyes went wide, and they just stared, speechless. Jason slid across the floor and hugged my leg. Ethan, my man, you have to write a book. The Art of Being a Kept Man would be a bestseller. $20,000 a month and no contract. Mark slapped his thigh. You're crazy. No contract. But I've already gotten the money. I answered honestly. Are you an idiot? What if she asks for it back? Hold on. I have a friend in the law school. I'll get her to draft a contract for you. Mark walked out, already on the phone. Jason was still hugging my leg. I kept trying to shake him off. Dude, get off. I'm straight. Please, man, just write the book. A little while later, Mark came back and sent me a Word document. This thing is more detailed than a prenup. You have to get her to sign it. I was hesitant. I don't think Chloe would ask for the money back. Doesn't matter. This is $20,000 we're talking about. We have to be careful. After the three of us went to the campus print shop to print out the contract, Mark and Jason suddenly dragged me towards the mall. Operation High Value Male Makeover is a go. You need a better wardrobe. You can't be embarrassing your sponsor. In front of a high-end clothing store, the sales associate stared at the crumpled contract in my hand, then glanced at the $5,000 price tag on a suit, their smile slowly freezing on their face. Do you, need a payment plan for that? 3 hours later, we strutted out of the mall loaded with shopping bags like we were new money. Jason suddenly elbowed me in the ribs. 9 o'clock. Chloe, with some random buff dude. Is she cheating on you already? I quickly glanced over. Chloe was striding forward impatiently in high heels, while the man next to her trailed behind, loaded down with shopping bags. Go catch her in the act. Mark started rolling up his sleeves, but I grabbed his wrist. I immediately threw on the sunglasses and hat I had just bought. I dragged them, hunched over, into a nearby store. Abort mission. Don't mess up my cash flow. The three of us crammed ourselves behind a mannequin. Mark ripped off my sunglasses and hissed. Who's cheating on who here? What are you doing? Obviously, my sponsor is cheating on me, I said, peeking through the mannequin's wig to keep an eye on the situation. But if she finds out that I know, it's all over. Are you going to pay me $20,000 a month? Mark was silent for 3 seconds, then respectfully handed my sunglasses back to me. You're playing 4D chess, my friend. We didn't sneak out, hugging the walls like spies, until the mall's closing announcement came on. I had just poured water into my instant noodles back at the dorm when a message from Chloe popped up. Were you out today? I replied instantly, just chilling in my dorm. With $20,000 on the line, there was no way I was going to admit it. Admitting I saw her cheating equals contract termination, which equals no more payments, which equals starving on the street. I knew how to handle this. In the days that followed, Chloe and I got to know each other better. One day, Chloe was standing under a maple tree, the wind catching the ends of her hair. Morning, babe, I said casually as I approached. She looked up and suddenly froze, a faint blush spreading across her cheeks. You got a haircut. Look good, I asked, deliberately flipping my hair. Yeah, as long as you like it. I proactively put my arm around her shoulder. My inner monologue. That $30 haircut was the best investment I've ever made. Chloe's body tensed up, and just as I was wondering if I'd been too forward, her phone rang. Chloe glanced at her phone and reluctantly answered. Chloe, baby. A man's affectionate voice cooed from the other end. Even though she didn't have it on speaker, I could hear him clearly. I quickly took 3 steps back to give them some privacy. I forgot something. I'm just going to run back and get it. With that, I bolted, figuring it was the perfect opportunity to go grab the contract I still needed her to sign. I sprinted upstairs and peered out a window to investigate. Chloe's mood had soured completely. The second she hung up, she furiously kicked a rock on the ground. I felt a pang of anxiety. Was I being an idiot? I should have just kept my mouth shut and slipped away. Now her real boyfriend on the other end of the line had heard my voice and was probably pissed. Ugh. She could have just made something up, said I was her brother, a cousin, a classmate, anything. During class today, I was fidgeting in my seat, thinking about how to get Chloe to sign the contract. Why are you squirming? Chloe finally asked. Just not used to the new haircut yet, I said with a forced smile. Chloe stared at me, then leaned in. A guy just called me and was being all sweet. Aren't you jealous? Jealous? For $20,000 a month? I could tolerate a whole harem. But, remembering we were supposed to be a couple, I knew I should act jealous. Of course I'm jealous. I like you so much. How could you do this? From now on, no one else is allowed to call you babe. While she was still processing that, I whipped out the printed contract. As your punishment, you have to sign this. When she saw the contract, Chloe was completely dumbfounded. She signed her name with so much force it nearly ripped the paper, a cold smile on her face. Ethan, you really are a professional, aren't you? Chloe's anger simmered for a solid week. She muted my texts and ignored me in class. Even worse, she made a point of strolling around with other guys, always making sure to pass within a 10-foot radius of me. Was my sponsor revenge hiring other male companions? Did this count as a workplace hazard? I was forced to upgrade my gear, sunglasses, a face mask, and a baseball cap. The 3-piece combo was practically welded to my face. My paranoia was contagious. Mark and Jason became just as jumpy as I was. The 3 of us moved through campus like a bomb squad, constantly on high alert. The sound of high heels was enough to make us hit the deck. I spent days racking my brain, trying to figure out how to get back in my sponsor's good graces and secure that contract renewal. Roses? Heart-shaped candles? A handwritten apology letter? I typed, "How to appease an angry sugar mama," into Google. A pop-up ad that read, "Wealthy woman seeking surrogate," gave me pause. Stealing myself, I sent Chloe a new contact request. We need to talk. If I could fix this, I would. If not, I'd just quit. I'd already made a good chunk of money, so it wouldn't be a total loss. As night fell, Chloe finally accepted my request. She sent me a location pin. The moment the pin for a late-night bar popped up, I grabbed my pepper spray and headed out to meet my fate. I called Chloe. Is this Chloe's boyfriend? You need to come pick up your drunken girlfriend. I walked into their booth, and someone waved me over. Ethan, over here. 3 girls were waving frantically from the booth. Chloe was sprawled on the couch, an arm draped over her eyes, revealing only her red lips pressed into a thin line. Her friends swarmed me, all talking at once. She's been drinking her sorrows away for 7 days straight. All because of you. Your picture is her phone's lock screen. We recognized you immediately. The girl's rapid-fire accusations left my head spinning. I knelt and gently poked the back of her hand. Chloe, are you okay? She opened her bleary eyes and grabbed my wrist. You were so quick to call me babe before. Why'd you stop? I steadied her swaying shoulders. Let me take you home. Permission granted, she mumbled, her hair brushing against my chin like a fluffy dandelion. I decided to just scoop her up into my arms. She suddenly grabbed my collar and mumbled, hold me tighter. The Uber driver pulled up in front of a mansion. Is anyone home to help you? No. I hesitated for a second, but decided to carry her inside. I fumbled my way through the dark, nearly knocking over a vase that was half my height. This wasn't a house. It was a museum. Where's your bedroom? I couldn't find my way, so I had to ask her. The couch is fine. She stumbled towards a leather sofa, and I caught her by the waist. You're already here. You might as well sleep in your bed. I was about to carry her upstairs. She suddenly pressed her forehead against my chest. Ethan, can't the person using the ATM actually care about the machine? The scent of her perfume wafted up from the collar of her shirt. I turned my head away, but she suddenly pulled me down with surprising strength, and we both tumbled onto the couch with a soft thud. Just as the atmosphere was getting charged, her phone rang, shattering the moment. Chloe fumbled for her phone and shoved it at me. You answer it. Tell them I'm asleep. I glanced at the caller ID. It was a man's name, and a jolt went through me. Was I supposed to make him jealous? It's my dad. Don't get any ideas. Just tell him I'm asleep. I answered the phone, my heart pounding. Hello, sir. Chloe's already asleep. I'll have her call you back tomorrow. Are you her boyfriend? That voice. It was the same man who had called her Chloe, baby, on the phone. It was her dad. I glanced at Chloe. She had her chin resting on my shoulder, a sly smile on her face, saying nothing. Yes, sir. I'm her boyfriend. What's your major? What do your parents do? After a 20-minute interrogation, the voice on the other end paused for a moment. Son, this must be hard on you. I stared at Chloe's eyelashes, just inches from my face. It's not hard at all, sir. I got to meet Chloe. I finally managed to end the call by saying she needed to rest. I've been in a bad mood lately, but it's not because of you. Today is my dad's birthday. It's also the anniversary of my mom's death. He divorced her for money while she was in the ICU, after they'd stopped her treatment. Now he's built this golden cage for me to atone for his sins, Chloe said, her fingers tracing the embossed pattern on the sofa. But when a thorn is embedded that deep, pulling it out tears the flesh with it. Ethan, do you ever resent your parents? No, I answered without hesitation. While you were complaining about your father, I was worrying about how to make ends meet. And while I was worrying about that, there were people with much bigger problems. You just have to learn to go with the flow. I was never good at comforting people. All I could offer were empty platitudes. Chloe looked at me quietly. Ethan, you're not at all what I imagined. And what did you imagine I'd be like? I asked, raising an eyebrow. Chloe toyed with a strand of my hair. Every time I saw you in the cafeteria, you looked so miserable, like the entire university owed you $2 million. Of course I did. I rolled my eyes. You try working 5 jobs from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. The way the cafeteria ladies skimp on portions feels like a personal attack. Chloe suddenly buried her face in the crook of my neck, her warm breath smelling of shampoo and wine against my skin. Well then, you'd better be a good little employee, Ethan. Read me a bedtime story. That's overtime. It'll cost you extra. Once upon a time, there was a mountain. My voice started to drift, my eyelids feeling like they were sealed with superglue. In the hazy fog of sleep, I heard her ask, Ethan, want to try dating for real? Gotta pay more. I mumbled into the couch cushion. 40,000. That's an insult. For that price, I'd call you mom and dad. Never mind. Wait, babe. 35,000. 30,000. Final offer. I pleaded. The only sound in the darkness was the hum of the air conditioner. Babe, you still there? I really can't go any lower than 30. Shut up and go to sleep. Okay. The next morning, Chloe woke up holding her back. Ethan, she grimaced, rubbing her lower back. How tight did you hold me last night? You nearly broke my back. I gave a weak smile. I can't afford to let a single hair on my sponsor's head get harmed. I had to hold on tight. Hold on tight. A seatbelt isn't that tight. Next time, just order me a coffin. It'll be easier. Fine. I won't hold you anymore. No. She suddenly slapped a card against my face. Here's your compensation. I'm renewing you for another year. How about another 10 years for a lifetime membership? I'm not opposed to the idea. When I rushed into the classroom just as the bell rang, Mark and Jason's glares hit me like laser beams. I sat through the 2-hour lecture with a feeling of dread. I could hear teeth grinding from the row in front of me. Mark's notebook was filled with angry doodles, and Jason had shredded his eraser into a pile of rubber dust. The second the bell rang, they grabbed me and dragged me back to our dorm, shoving me into a chair like they were interrogating a criminal. Comrade Ethan, Mark slammed his hand on the table, sending a bag of chips flying. If Chloe's going to cheat, let her. You're getting paid for your time, not your body. Jason, once again hugging my leg, pleaded, please, I'm begging you, write the book. Stop. I held up my hands in surrender. It was purely an escort service. She was blackout drunk, so I took her home. Home? They both said in unison, narrowing their eyes. Only an animal would call a bed a nest. We just slept while holding each other, willingly. It was semi-voluntary, due to gravity. Mark leaned in close. Confess, you were the one who wanted her, weren't you? My ears turned beet red, and I whipped my head around. That's slander. The only thing I've ever lusted after is her wallet. My sponsor care and feeding guide was now 178 pages long. It contained a detailed map of Chloe's likes and dislikes, a social chart of her friend group, and even a list of allergens for her dad's Doberman. Over the past 6 months, I had become a master of my craft. Precision feeding. Her breakfast sandwich had to have a yolk that was exactly 97% runny, and her coffee had to be precisely 136 degrees Fahrenheit. Social risk management. I blocked every female on my social media and only petted the male stray cats in the neighborhood. Discretion. I had memorized the smart boyfriend's survival guide. Her phone password? What was that? An invasion of my client's privacy. That's what. Occasionally, Chloe would complain. Ethan, you give me too much freedom. I need you to act jealous, right now, like a normal human being. If it weren't for the hundreds of thousands of dollars in my bank account, I would have almost forgotten that our relationship was built on money. During the fall break, the campus academic buildings were as empty as a looted beehive. I was contemplating the meaning of life over a bag of stale potato chips when Chloe's motorcycle helmet suddenly bonked me on the back of the head. I'm hiring you as a human accessory for the day. Triple your usual rate. In the rearview mirror, I could see a sticky note on the spare helmet she tossed me. Hold on tight to the client. Any injuries from falling will be deducted from your pay. At the campus gate, the plastic surgery guy was arm in arm with a wealthy-looking woman dripping in fur. Since when do they let junk like that park at the main gate? He sneered, before climbing into a fluorescent pink convertible and speeding off. Chloe suddenly grabbed my hands and wrapped them around her waist. Hold on, she said, and the sudden acceleration slammed me against her back. Through her cotton t-shirt, the soft curve of her back felt amazing under my hands. Chloe turned her head and shot me a glare. Have you had your fun yet? Hee hee, I said, sheepishly pulling my hands away. Chloe took me back to her apartment. We sat on her couch with a mountain of snacks, watching a horror movie we were screen mirroring from her phone. She was a total scaredy cat, but she loved them. Before long, she was a trembling mess, burrowed into my side. Suddenly, a new iMessage notification popped up on the screen. Babe, I'm in the hospital. Come take care of me. The warm body in my arms suddenly went cold. The room fell into an awkward silence. Well, I swallowed hard. How about I go take care of your friend for you? Fine, Chloe said, her arms suddenly dropping from around my waist. You seem eager to go. Guess you need to feel like you're earning your money, right? You can go tomorrow. Okay. I went to the store to pick up some essentials. Ethan, Sophia's face suddenly appeared in front of me. Sophia, what are you doing here? What's all this? Buying so much stuff. I nudged the rustling plastic bags at my feet. Just getting some things for a friend who's in the hospital. Is Mark in the hospital? It's Chloe's. I stared at the plastic bags, my brain short-circuiting. I blurted out. It's for Chloe's boyfriend. You two broke up? No, we didn't break up. I have to go take care of her other boyfriend. Sophia looked like she'd been struck by lightning and spent the next half hour trying to comfort me with a jumble of words. Ethan, you don't have to put yourself through this. If Chloe doesn't appreciate you, you could always consider me. Honestly, Sophia, Chloe is actually really good to me. Early the next morning, I pushed open the door to the hospital room. The moment the man in the hospital bed opened his eyes, I switched into Gold Star caregiver mode, a professional smile plastered on my face. Hi, Chloe sent me to look after you. Where's Chloe? The man looked to be in his 30s. It was the same guy from the mall. A pang of jealousy hit me. Chloe will be here soon. I'm here to help out until she arrives. The man struggled to sit up. I can't let you do that. You're a guest. Don't worry about it. I interrupted, putting on my best customer service smile as I started tidying up his messy bedside table. The patient comes first. You just rest. I told myself to just think of it as an extra task. For $20,000 a month, it was worth it. I was just finishing arranging a fruit basket when the door creaked open. A strange woman swept into the room like a gust of wind and threw herself into the man's arms. Her voice sickeningly sweet. Darling, are you feeling any better? Does it still hurt? The man leaned down and kissed her cheek with practiced ease. Now that I see you, all the pain is gone, babe. I froze, my hands hovering in midair. My mind was reeling. Was this some kind of love square? Who was cheating on who? Was this how the other half lived? They weren't even trying to hide it. A hot flash of anger surged through me. In front of me, her official boyfriend, they were all over each other. I didn't care if he was on his deathbed. I was about to teach him a lesson. Just as I clenched my fist, the door to the room flew open. Chloe rushed in, carrying several heavy gift bags. The couple on the bed were still wrapped around each other, completely oblivious. The man, seemingly oblivious to my thunderous expression, greeted Chloe warmly. Chloe, you're here. The woman finally looked up, a playful pout on her lips. Look at your boyfriend, so eager to help. He's practically a one-man army. Chloe laughed, setting down the bags. I know, right? When he heard you were sick, he insisted on coming to help. I couldn't stop him. The information overload fried my brain's CPU. My mind was a complete blank. Finally, Chloe seemed to remember I was there and gestured casually in my direction. Oh right, let me introduce you. This is my cousin, Alex, and this is my sister-in-law, Jessica. The air in the room hung still for a long moment. I managed to choke out a strangled noise. That evening, I drove Chloe back to her mansion. I finally broke, reaching out and pinching her cheek. Were you messing with me? Chloe slapped my hand away like a territorial little animal. Messing with you? Weren't you the one who volunteered to take care of him? I just took you for some on-the-job training. Is there a problem? She raised an eyebrow, a mischievous glint in her eye. You knew what I thought, I said, my chest tight with frustration. You knew what I thought he was to you. And what was that? Chloe stepped closer, her fingers tracing the top button of my shirt. Your replacement? Aren't you the boyfriend? The official one. You knew I misunderstood. And you just stood there and watched? Wasn't it fun to watch? She tilted her head up, her eyes sparkling. You're so magnanimous, Ethan, happily waiting on the other man. A little misunderstanding seems perfectly normal, doesn't it? Besides, she added with a barely concealed hint of jealousy, I was going to explain, but you seemed pretty busy with your friend Sophia. Forget it. I was speechless, a wave of frustration washing over me. I tried to push her away, my voice stiff. You're the boss. I'm not going to argue with you. Ethan. But she didn't move, instead stepping even closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. I don't want to be your boss anymore. I froze. Are you firing me? No, she said, shaking her head, her eyes burning into mine. I'll trade you my entire fortune for your last name. The kind that gets written on a marriage certificate. What do you say? It felt like something heavy had slammed into my chest. Almost instinctively, I blurted out, in your dreams. You're a student. How much could you possibly be worth? I regretted it the second the words left my mouth. Chloe let out a sharp, humorless laugh, her eyes flashing. Not much. At $20,000 a month, it's enough to be your boss for the next 20 or 30 years. What? Is that not enough for you? Has your boss spoiled you? The image of my bank account balance, with all its zeros, flashed in my mind, and I swallowed hard. But what little reason I had left managed to rein in my impulse. No, I said, turning my head away, my voice tight. It's too fast. You haven't even graduated yet. You don't have a job. You never know. Maybe someday I'll have more money than you. Even as I said it, my feet felt like they were nailed to the floor. Chloe didn't argue. She suddenly stepped forward and, before I could react, sat down on my lap, trapping me against the back of the sofa. The main lights were off, and the dim glow of a wall lamp illuminated her face, just inches from mine. Her deep, dark eyes clearly reflected my own flustered expression. Then let me rephrase. Her breath ghosted across my nose, her voice as soft as a sigh. The title of girlfriend, not the kind defined in our contract. My throat went dry. I looked away, my voice hoarse. Aren't you already? It's not enough. She shook her head, her lips brushing almost imperceptibly against mine, her warm breath making me shiver. I wanted to be real. For example, she whispered, and then she stopped talking. The last word was lost as her lips met mine. A soft, sweet pressure, carrying her unique scent, crashed into me. My mind went completely blank, like a stone dropping into deep water. Time seemed to stop, and all I was aware of was the sound of our breathing and the frantic pounding of my heart. My hands hovered awkwardly in the air, unsure of what to do, before finally, clumsily, settling on the thin fabric of her waist. I don't know how much time passed before the suffocating warmth finally retreated. In the dim light, I managed to gather my scattered thoughts and saw her glistening lips and the slight flush at the corners of her eyes. "Chloe, are you serious?" She hummed a soft yes. I took a deep breath, feeling something inside me crumble and then rebuild itself. My voice was still shaky, but I managed to ask, "We could try." A slow, triumphant, yet gentle smile spread across her lips. "Okay." Her warm fingers touched the back of my neck. "So, let's continue." The last word was swallowed as her scent enveloped me again, more intense than before. My muffled response was lost in the deep, dark night. Time seemed to speed up after that. Chloe's graduation felt like it was just yesterday, but in the blink of an eye, she had thrown herself into the world of coding, turning down a cushy executive position at her father's company to start her own software development firm from scratch. Her decision sent shockwaves through her family. They were furious and immediately cut her off financially. Meanwhile, fate seemed to be smiling on me. The stock market account I had casually thrown some money into and then forgotten about suddenly took off like a rocket, the numbers climbing at a dizzying rate. The number of zeros in my bank account was growing at an alarming rate. I decided to convert my rapidly growing capital into concrete assets, buying up several properties in prime locations. My life became a symphony of library study sessions and the ping of rent payments hitting my account. The scales of wealth between us had silently, completely, flipped. The woman who had once been my $20,000 a month boss was now a scrappy startup founder, pinching every penny. And I, the former employee, had become a young landlord with a portfolio of properties. The dramatic reversal of our fortunes made Chloe a little wary of me, especially when I casually mentioned the phrase college girls. She would instantly bristle like a threatened porcupine. On the night of our second anniversary, I had arranged a romantic candlelight dinner, but the atmosphere was strangely tense. Chloe barely touched her food, instead curling up on the sofa, her voice uncharacteristically small and vulnerable. "Ethan," she began, her fingers twisting the cuff of my shirt. "What am I going to do? You're a self-made man now, financially independent at such a young age. My entire fortune probably looks like pocket change to you now, doesn't it?" I turned to look at her, her lowered lashes casting long shadows in the candlelight. I decided to play along, a teasing smile on my face. "Yeah, I guess it's not that impressive anymore." Her head snapped up, her eyes wide. She bit her lip, her brow furrowed in what looked like a serious internal debate. After a long moment, a look of fierce determination crossed her face. "Fine, I'll quit my software company." Her tone was resolute. "What do you think of my dad's company? Is that big enough for you? If it is, I'll go back and take over the family business tomorrow." I was completely taken aback by this sudden turn of events. Chloe, however, seemed to gain confidence from my shock, sitting up straight and meeting my gaze. "What? All that money is just sitting there. It would be a waste not to use it. For you, I'm willing to become a trust fund baby." Seeing her trying so hard to act tough when she was clearly terrified, a wave of warmth, mixed with an inexplicable tenderness and amusement, washed over me. I reached out and gently pinched her cheek. "You're an idiot," I said softly, a gentle smile in my eyes. "How about a counteroffer?" She looked at me suspiciously. "Now, it's my turn to hire you." I looked into her eyes and said, slowly and clearly, "I'm hiring you to be my girlfriend. The contract will be for 2 years. After 2 years, if we're still together." I paused, my voice dropping to a near whisper, but filled with unwavering conviction. "I'll abdicate my position as boss, and we can go get that marriage license. How does that sound?" Chloe stared at me, her eyes wide and unblinking, the candlelight dancing in their depths. After a few seconds of silence, her eyes lit up with a brilliant light, as if they were filled with crushed stars. She threw herself at me, her arms wrapping tightly around my neck, her warm breath a mixture of joy and relief in my ear. "You have a deal." Her voice was bright, with a triumphant smile. "But, boss, you're going to have to give me an advance on my salary." Before the words were even fully out of her mouth, her soft lips were on mine, sealing her words, and all our future hopes, in a kiss that tasted of candlelight and wine. After that night, a new hardcover notebook appeared on Chloe's bookshelf. It was titled Sponsors Preferences Research Log, and she approached her new job with a level of dedication that far surpassed her senior thesis. Every page was filled with dense, black ink, leaving almost no white space. One lazy weekend afternoon, she was sitting cross-legged on the floor by the window, bathed in sunlight, flipping through the pages of her notebook. She suddenly looked up at me, a smug little smile on her face. "Look at my work ethic. Much more professional than when you were my nanny, don't you think?" My curiosity piqued. I leaned over and took the heavy research log from her hands. I flipped it open to a random page and found myself staring at the first few entries, stunned. The entries dated back 2 years. On the yellowed pages, she had recorded small, raw, real moments, like scattered fragments of time she had carefully collected and preserved. Entry 001, date, faded. Turns out I'm not the only one who's clueless about love. I snuck a peek at his phone today. His top search history item, how to make your girlfriend happy. What an idiot. Entry 002, date, unknown. Our first picture together. Why does he look like a model in every single photo? It makes me look like some random person who photobombed the shot. So annoying. Entry 003, date, the day we went official. I waited all day, but he never mentioned posting about us on Facebook. I couldn't wait any longer, so I did it myself. My hands were shaking after I posted it. My first time posting about a relationship. So nervous. I wonder if he'll see it. Entry 004, date, the mall encounter. My cousin dragged me to the mall to buy a gift for my dad, and I ran into Ethan. He saw me and looked like he'd seen a ghost. He immediately threw on a pair of sunglasses and ran away. Seriously? They're sunglasses, not an invisibility cloak. Entry 005, date, the haircut. Ethan got a buzz cut. Oh my god, he's so handsome I can barely stand. I want to touch it. Entry 006, date, the contract fiasco. I was already in a terrible mood, and then he tried to get me to sign some stupid renewal contract. I was so mad. Does he think I'm some kind of subscription service? Unbelievable. Entry 007, date, Operation Jealousy. I've paraded a different guy around the main quad for 4 days straight, and he still hasn't come to talk to me. What is wrong with him? And what's worse, every time he sees me, his first instinct is to put on his sunglasses and run away. He's impossible. Where's his sense of professional duty? Honestly. Entry 008, date, the sunglasses complaint. I'm so sick of it. Ethan, they're sunglasses, not an invisibility cloak. I included an angry doodle here. Entry 009, date, the hug. I got a hug. The moment I buried my face in his neck, half my anger melted away. My hand accidentally brushed against his abs. Okay, I'm not angry anymore. Entry 010, date, the almost confession. The mood was perfect tonight. I almost told him how I really felt, but instead, I blurted out, I'm renewing you for another year. Ugh, he's so dense. I guess I'll have to work up the courage again next year. Entry 011, date, the culinary file. Ethan cooked. His beef stew was to die for. I want to chain him to the stove. I want to eat his cooking every day. Entry 012, date, horror movie research report. Best date night activity, horror movies. Rationale, provides a plausible excuse to repeatedly jump into sponsors' arms and initiate the accidental touch maneuver. Success rate, 100%. Entry 013, date, core finding. Ethan is adorable. Entry 014, date, exclusive observation. Even when he's not working, he has a permanent scowl and a don't talk to me vibe. But whenever he's with me, he can't stop the corners of his mouth from turning up. He's like a big cat that's just been petted. I love it. My fingers traced over the words, a mix of complaints, giddy excitement, and small, secret plots. The pages that followed were filled with unabashed praise for me. She had documented every little expression, every unconscious habit, even things I had said offhandedly that I didn't remember. The sunlight streamed through the window, warming the open pages of the notebook and the tips of her blushing ears. I closed the notebook, a warm, sweet feeling spreading through my chest like honey. I reached out and ruffled her soft hair, a low chuckle escaping my lips. This is nice. I seem to have found myself a pure, silly, lovesick girl. Okay, that's enough. Stop reading. Chloe, like a cat whose tail had just been stepped on, snatched the notebook back and clutched it to her chest. Her ears were a startling shade of red, a blush spreading down her neck. Reading it now, I can't believe I wrote all that, she mumbled, her voice trailing off in embarrassed frustration. I should rename it From Sponsors' Preferences to the Diary of a Total Simp. It's so cringe. I watched her bury her face in a pillow, and I couldn't help but laugh. I reached out to touch her burning ears, but she dodged away. I gently poked her shoulder and said, in my most serious voice, "What are you talking about? You're not a simp." This is professionalism. You understand? A highly paid assistant needs to be fully aware of their boss's preferences and moods. She peeked at me over the top of the notebook, a mischievous glint in her eye. Oh, such high professionalism, huh? Well then, Assistant Ethan, since I've shared so much of my research material with you, where's yours? She sat up straight, a look of sudden discovery on her face. That's right, your diary. It's my turn to inspect it, isn't it? Let's call it a performance review. The smile on my face froze. No way. Absolutely not. Don't even think about it. My tone was firm, leaving no room for negotiation. The girl, now armed with her own incriminating evidence, was suddenly energized, as if she had found a chink in my armor. She tossed the notebook aside and pounced on me. Please, Ethan, just a little peek? I promise I won't laugh. Just the first page? If you don't show me, I'm going to have to tickle you. The room was filled with the sound of Ethan and Chloe's joyful laughter, a moment of pure bliss.